Wake up to reality.
In this episode, ladies and gentlemen, I got this clip from Mumia Obsidian Alli. Again, Mumia Obsidian Alli. And he was interacting with a lady about whether or not Dr. Uhmar Johnson or Kevin Samuels was a little bit more accurate, misunderstood, or who do the women prefer. I am under the mindset that women in general preferred Kevin Samuels. The problem with Kevin Samuels and your individuals, your Hotep community, or your simping forces, or your beta males is not so much that they're checking the women, female. In life, there's checks and balances. Somebody's always going to reach out and touch somebody. It's not so much that they're checking the women. It more is to do with the fact that the men are telling the women how they're navigating through life in general as it pertains to selecting a mate. When I speak of your Hotep community, I'm explaining to you I appreciate the academia, but it's not a lived practice that we should relive again. It is a system that failed. It is a system that failed because the men prioritized the women. In the system of Egyptology, in the system of Hotep, Queen Mother Maya, the black woman is God, in that system, in that concept, in that psychology, in that dichotomy, it is men worshiping vagina. They hold the women in such high esteem. And it isn't because a woman creates life. They are telling you that, but that's not the science. They're telling you that because they, the individual male, is telling you, the public, I don't want to be a man. I don't want to be that type of man. I'm not able to be that type of man. I don't desire to be that type of man. They're telling you subliminally that they prefer if the female is in charge. Well, why does a male prefer a female to be in charge? In a nutshell, they're going to tell a female anything that the female needs to hear in order to get access to the female. But if that female says, you need to go out there and you need to fight the battle, the war, the this, the that, they're less likely to do it because now the price to have access to that female is too high. So you're hearing a lot of talk. You guys are hearing a lot of talk. You're hearing passport bros. You're hearing simp enforcers. You're hearing beta males. You're hearing let's see if I can get this category right. The beta male and panderers. This is what you're hearing, and you're hearing all these subgroups go against the warrior class. Warrior class, in a nutshell, is Pookie and Ray Ray. I am Pookie and Ray Ray. I am a representative of Pookie and Ray Ray. I am not saying this with an esteemed joy. I'm a Pookie and a Ray Ray, and Pookie and a Ray Ray I am. I'm not saying it in a manner of something I should be proud of, because I'm not. I'm not ashamed of it, but I would prefer to be something else or somewhere else. So I'm paying the price for being a Pookie and a Ray Ray, and it's a hard price. The issue is biology. The men are trying to rewrite the biology, social environment, social engineering, social construct. The women naturally, biologically choose me. But when you're going up against white supremacy, when you're going up against racism, when you're going up against bad credit, when you're going up against panderers, when you're going up against simps, when you're going up against Poindexters, nerds, what happens is that people group says, back then you didn't want me. Now I'm hot. You're all up on me. Well, why is it now that the women want you? The women want you because you're attacking the warrior class. You are attacking the freedom fighters. You are attacking the Pookies and Ray Rays. Under any name, they are representatives of the warrior class. And you are attacking them not via physical strength. You are not attacking them via the science. You are attacking us, the economics. You are the one that's changing the law. The panderers and the simps are the ones that is actually causing the price of a female's body or a female's companionship to go up. Not a Pookie and a Ray Ray. A Pookie and a Ray Ray, I can get it for free, or I can get it at a lesser price. I can get it for free or at a lesser price because she naturally wants me. And everybody else is having to pay a higher price. If you did not challenge me, if you did not attack me, if you were not weaker, you wouldn't challenge my economics. You would say, let the best man win. Then you would be okay with the end results because you are a male that says, oh, well, I guess that's what the women wanted. I'm not changing the rules though. Because he may have access to Halle Berry, the original, but I can get access to Halle Berry, the doppelganger, the twin. I don't need access to that her. I need access to it, not her. What these men are doing is they're asking for access to her, not it. It comes along with her. I just want access to it, not her. I need you guys to listen to this video. This is just the audio. This is not an image. This is no visual. Listen to the audio. Listen to the female say. She herself sort of kind of agreed with Kevin Samuels. And the reason why I'm paraphrasing and saying sort of kind of, because you never agree with anybody 100% absolute. There are aspects you agree with and there are aspects you disagree with. The sort of kind of comes into the play because of whatever she did disagree with. We're not talking about that. We're talking about one male was more effective to the female than the other male who's been out a lot longer talking that Queen Mother Goddess jargon is crap, and the women know it's crap. But the women accept it because it is what it is, but they're not going to change the world. You have more women changing their mindsets. You have more women behaving. You have more women willing to fight back simply because one male, Samuels, said what he said, whereas the other male, the Hotepers, Queen Mother Goddess, all that other jargon, they don't get the same kind of result. And this is the anger. Roll the tape.
It's just so many things. I guess
Who am I speaking to, please? Who am I speaking to, please?
This is Jasmine.
Hey, Jasmine, how are you?
How are you?
I'm doing great. Welcome to the House of Obsidian and Obsidian Radio Live over on YouTube. Say hello to all the good people on YouTube.
Hello, YouTube. How are you?
Right. Very good. Okay, go right ahead. You were saying.
Yeah. I was listening a lot before I chimed in. I've been kind of in and out, but I guess my overall question would be to you, and I guess to the other men in the room, these conversations, okay? You guys are throwing statistics. You're excited to see black women fail. You're throwing a stat to say that, allegedly they will be single by year 2030, and you guys are excited about that. And there are also all of these comments about why and how black women are just not good enough, I guess, for the men in this room. And so my question is, and then you also promote, dating out, et cetera, et cetera. anything anti-black woman is the topic. So my question is, what is the point of this conversation? Are you here to help or to further hurt the community as black men? And let me be very clear. I am not here to argue with black men. I love black men. I love my black community. I have nothing bad to say. I am just simply listening and made an observation and wanted to ask, how helpful are these conversations to our community?
Let me take the last point first, because I thought you landed your plane, so to speak, as they say here on.
Yes, I'm done. You can
on a very interesting. You landed it on a very interesting point. You said, "How is this helpful to the community?" Do you see the community as black female first?
Do I see the community as black female first?
Yes. Because you opened your remarks about talking about black women, and then you ended it about how is it helpful to the community. So I took that to mean that you see the community as first and foremost black female.
No, I see the community as black people. I see the community as black man, black woman, black children. I see the community as black family. But we're specifically speaking about black women. We have black men on this stage discussing black women and how they are unworthy, right? So I am just...
Hold on a second. Hang on, Jasmine.
Okay.
Where in the title of today's topic does it say black women are unworthy?
No. Okay, so let me be clear. I wasn't referring to your title when I said that. I was more so referring to the comments that have been made while I've been in this room. And a lot of the comments from the black men have been, the underlying basis of it is, you're not good enough, you fucked up, you like Pookie and Ray Ray, you're a single mom, you're gonna alone, that's why we're dating out, and all of these things. So my question...
You took all of that from the question on the floor about Dr. Uhmar Johnson, Kevin Samuels, and black women's Eurocentric hypergamy standard? You got all of that from that?
Okay, so again, let me be clear.
Yeah.
I wasn't answering your question. I'm sorry if I was supposed to be specifically answering the question about Dr. Umar. I apologize, because when I started to speak, I wasn't referring to what you had asked about that. I thought you said anybody that could speak on anything on the topic or regarding what's being discussed in this room that we can speak. And so that's why I got off the mic. So my questions have nothing to do with what Dr. Umar said or your title. My question was specifically about these conversations about black women and the context of these conversations. How is it helpful for black women, for black men, for black children in our community?
What is your view of Dr. Umar Johnson? But do you consider him to be a formidable and capable and competent black male leader?
I think that so I follow Dr. Umar. I think a lot of what he says is very true in regards to black people in this country, why we are where we are, why there are so many...
Did you hear what he said about Kevin Samuels?
I caught a small clip of it. He said something like he didn't agree with Kevin Samuels. He felt that, Kevin Samuels was just, I guess, too superficial. I actually did not listen to the entire clip.
All right, I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play it for you because you deserve to hear the whole thing. You ready? I'm gonna play it for you right now. Dr. Umar Johnson shares his thoughts on the late Kevin Samuels. Here we go.
It's a heavy focus on how much you make and how good you look. No woman is going to look good forever. No. They're going to get pregnant. They're going to get older. To me, telling women that you are too fat or too small or too broke, and that's the reason why you don't have a man, that is psychopathological and it is destructive to our community. I did not agree with his approach at all. And the fact that he did have a lot of people who did speaks to how decadent and speaks to how self-hating we can be as a people. And I'll be honest with you, I think a lot of the women who supported Kevin Samuels supported him because they don't like other black women and they enjoyed sitting back on their couch, sipping their tea, and watch this black man tear black women's self-esteem to shreds.
How is this dialogue that I'm hosting at this time helpful to the community? Go right ahead.
Okay, so let me start off by saying I never had a problem with Kevin Samuels. Now, of course, because of
Do you
the
agree
way
with
he
Dr.
was-
Umar Johnson's
No, I don't. I don't agree with what he
assessment
I
that he
don't-
was too Eurocentric and too superficial in regarding black women? Do you agree with that?
No, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. But I also think Dr. Umar misconstrued Kevin Samuels' message. But I also think Dr. Umar misconstrued Kevin Samuels' message. But I also think Dr. Umar misconstrued Kevin Samuels' message. Kevin Samuels didn't say, hey, no one's going to love you, you're done, you're down. They're saying, hey, baby, if you are overweight, okay, if you got a bad attitude, if you don't know how to listen to a man or be appealing to the kind of man that you say you want, you're either going to have to make some changes internally and externally to obtain that, or maybe not settle or lower your standard, but maybe adjust your standard just so you can have companionship. Because a lot of times these women that, again, maybe a little bit overweight, highly educated, bad attitude, I don't need no man this, Miss Independent that, whatever the case may be, they want the quote-unquote six-figure guy with washboard abs who makes all this money and has all this access to the world. But the reality of it is, which is what I think Kevin Samuels was trying to let women know, those men aren't looking at you. And if you want them to look at you, you have to change. And I think that's where the pushback came, because unfortunately, black women, I'm not even going to say black women in general have a hard time holding themselves accountable and making the changes for them to see for them to see better results. But at the end of the day, and they also feel, well, you need to just accept me as I am and blah 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 blah. But at the end of the day, baby, you're not really accepting who you are. You're settling for a lesser version of yourself and expect somebody that's done the work to be healthy and wealthy and can be the provider that you want. You're not willing to do the work to obtain that. So that's on you. So I don't think that Dr. Umar I think he was very surface on his assessment of what Kevin Samuels was talking about. And he
Why do you think that is?
I mean, at the end of the day, Dr. Umar has a certain platform that he has a platform where maybe a certain demographic tunes in and supports him. So you might have to be careful on what you say, who you.
What
is that demographic? What is that demographic?
I mean, we know it's in my opinion, it is majority black women and black men. Now, I can't give you a statistic on what level in life that either side are on that engage with him. I'm an educated woman. I'm single. I'm not married. I don't have any kids. But I follow Dr. Umar. I can't say that the next girl next to me is doing the same. That's where I am in my life. I just know that his target demographic are black people, quote unquote, the woke community, or maybe the conscious community. And so he probably, and I really don't truly think he sat down and actually watched a few full episodes of Kevin Samuels and his message. Because I
Wait a minute. Say that one more again, please. This is very important. Say that one more again, please.
I don't think, and I don't know this to be true, but I don't think that Dr. Umar really sat down and listened and watched at least 3 full episodes of a Kevin Samuels podcast, because if he did, I think he would have a different perspective on what Kevin Samuels' true message was.
Listen to what I'm always trying to explain and say. I am of a personality type. When I hear certain things, I don't get emotional. I am asking the question, why was that word used? Why were you speaking of whatever it is that you're speaking about in the manner that you're speaking? So there is a context or an intent associated with words that are used. I am an individual that I do pay attention to the words. More importantly, I am also an individual that pays attention to the message. The message is what really gets me. Overall, it's the message. However, within trying to find out the importance of the message, I want to know what those words mean. Because I explained to you guys anonyms, homophones, homographs. I explained to you guys double talk, double speak. I explained to you guys so many things in which your general public, your enemy, uses words or talks to you in a certain manner to confuse you. So you would think that you're going down the right path because of the way that they portray it to you, the way that they advertise it. Lo and behold, you're going down the wrong path. As the quote says, the road to hell is paved in gold, or paved in good intentions. There are three personality types or character types or people groups that are really at war within the black community. You have those that want to dismantle the system. You have those that want to live within the system more comfortably. And you, of course, have those that don't want to do anything. They just want to get by. And the reason why I'm bringing this to you so that you can clearly understand, the women know. The women know what the problem is. It's just that men are lying for the women. And if somebody is going to lie for you, then by default, what do? What do you have to do if somebody else is going to lie for you or take up the slack or work on your behalf? What do you have to do if somebody else is always there doing it for you? The women know. The women across the board, well, that's just one person that's speaking. The women know across the board that Uhmar is a panderer. The women know across the board. So if they know he's a panderer, well, then why do they listen? Listen to what I'm saying, because I'm giving it to you plain Jane. I'm giving it to you elementary. You listen because you want to defeat somebody. You don't know how to defeat somebody. So you're hoping somebody will give you a better understanding or toolage to defeat somebody. What the panderers inadvertently do is they teach women how to defeat, I want to say, the man that's naturally select. Why would I use the word naturally select in the context of relationship and female defeating? People take advantage of everything. Human beings take advantage of everyone and everything. If the mate is naturally select, but he's naturally select to other people, then that puts her at a disadvantage. So that means she's going to have to compete on a level she doesn't want to. Not a level she's not able to, a level she doesn't want to, in order to get access or to have his attention. What Uhmar Johnson polites the Hotep community, not all, but the 98% of the Hotep community does is they pander to women using their lady parts. And they speak in a manner that says, you are the MVP, most valuable player. When they speak to a lady who's heartbroken, a lady who's a narcissist, a lady who's insecure, when they speak to a female who has her own trauma, dealing with her own trauma, when she hears those words, that's like music to her ears. So you mean I don't have to put up with him? So you mean I don't have to settle? So you mean I can go out here and I can do anything that I want to do? She's going to take those words, Queen Mother Goddess Mayat Hotep, and she's going to use those words as a weapon. And instead of actually getting with the man and building with the man and loving the man, Uhmar Johnson and the Hotep community, the group of panderers, what they're doing is they're actually causing division. Because you have Pookies and Ray Rays, you have your naturally select men, and then you have your, I would say your paper chasers, or your, let's say characterize them as individual males or Poindexters. So those were your nerds in high school, nerds in school. They're not naturally select. They're looked down upon. But what they do or have done is they went somewhere in world society and got their paper up, their materialistic access up. So now they come back to the table and they say, I've acquired blase, blase, blah. And since I've acquired blase, blase, blah, I can make your life a lot easier only if you would choose me. But that's a materialistic concept. They're basing their honey trap on, I got the money, I got the car, I got the house, I got the good paying job, I can do this for you. They're willing to buy the pussy. Women hear that, because women aren't stupid. Our women aren't stupid. The issue is the men. So when I always come to you guys and I say it's the men, it's the men, it's the men, it's the men. The Pookies and Ray Rays, which is what I am, a Pookie and a Ray Ray. The only difference is I'm tired of paying the price of a Pookie and a Ray Ray. If Pookie and Ray Ray's price wasn't so expensive, I probably would continue to pay it. But it's costly. It takes a lot from you, and I'm tired of paying that price. So what I'm also trying to do is get the rest of the Pookies and Ray Rays to graduate from being a Pookie and a Ray Ray to being economically sound, because you're already naturally select. By nature, the women choose you hands down all of the time. They don't choose your middle class or your Poindexters that often. They don't choose them. They don't choose them not necessarily because they don't like them or they're intimidated by them. They generally don't choose them because they're not biologically naturally select. So what your panderers do is they try to steer the female away from the warrior class, the naturally select male. And they try to convince the women that they would be a better choice. But the women know this. Those groups, whether they're above or below, those groups are actually moving against the builders of our community, the builders of our nation. And there, again, I ask you guys the question. All of this is relative. I'm keep giving you examples, hoping that you can get a better understanding of what's at play. Who is more dangerous? Who is more detrimental to an environment, to a society, to a civilization, to a people group? Pookies and Ray Rays or Simps? Who is more detrimental? Who is more harmful? Pookies and Ray Rays or Simps? Who is more dangerous? Who is more detrimental to an environment, to a society, to a civilization, to a people group? Pookies and Ray Rays or Simps? Who is more detrimental? Who is more harmful? Pookies and Ray Rays or Simps? Who is more dangerous? Who is more detrimental to an environment, to a society, to a civilization, to a people group? Pookies and Ray Rays or Simps? Who is more detrimental? Who is more harmful? Pookies and Ray Rays or Simps? Please answer that question in the comment section. I read over it and then I can do another video. I've explained it once before, but I'll do it as many times as I need to do it so that the listening audience can get a better understanding of what I'm saying. One of the ways in which you learn is you learn by participation, you learn by observation, and you learn by repetitiveness. Keep doing it. So when you're hearing the lady, Jasmine, explain that she doesn't think that Uhmar Johnson really gave Kevin Samuels a fair analysis, what I'm telling you is, in a nutshell, it's not that they don't give opposition a fair analysis. They don't like for opposition to make the playing field more difficult to participate in. If they can keep the playing field the way that it is, and you keep donating money and you keep sending money and you keep giving your attention to them, they won't ask you to change. They're going to say that a woman is she's the queen. A man has no right to tell a woman where and when, what to do with her body. They will never change the message. They will never change the logic. They will never switch it up. They will never speak against the female. And what I'm explaining when I keep saying the Hotep community is that people group is trying to fall under the banner of Egyptology. Egyptology, in essence, is where they value the female more than they value the male. And what I'm saying is that is a system that has failed. So I will go back and read it. I will go back and do the research, but I won't bring it. I won't use that to work to win this particular battle. I wouldn't use it to win a female's affection. I would just put it in my toolbox and be like, yeah, that's cute. I got it. But I don't psychologically think like that. Why would I put someone who's weaker than me above me? Why would I put someone who requires more attention above me? I'm not talking mentally. I'm talking about all of it. A man can be emotionally disciplined. A man can be sexually disciplined. Either more or equal to a female. A man ain't weaker than a female just because he's a man. A female isn't weaker than a male just because she's a female. A female, in essence, is only weaker than a male because she's afraid of a male. If she wasn't afraid of a male, she'd be just as detrimental to us all as a male if she wasn't afraid. So I'm more in favor of a monarch, not a patriarch, not a matriarch, a monarch. And a monarch is when it's an interchanging rule. Basically, the one who's best fit to lead. However, they try to keep things within a bloodline. So if it is a firstborn daughter by the firstborn rights, then a female would rule. And I am one that I don't mind a female ruling, but she has to rule according to the logic. She can't rule just because she has a vagina. And what the Hotep community does, the Sip community does, the Mama's Boys community does, the Epidus community does, they believe women are stronger because they are the ones that are easily manipulated by a female. Or more, not necessarily stronger, but more capable because their personality types, and you got to understand, we as black men, we have been closed out, or not necessarily closed out, but we rejected education. And because we rejected education, we are actually operating at a disadvantage. We understand certain things on a natural level. Just get up, stretch, morning, yawning in the morning, and get to work. We understand things on a natural level. Well, if your competition can't compete with you on a natural sense, they have to go to something in order to level the playing field for them, to even the odds. So if our women cannot or are less likely to lift as much weight, farm as long as we are, she's going to come up with some kind of way to put the power in her hands. That's just human nature. It's male or female. It's not a gender soul. It's not a solely gender-based concept. It's a human-based concept. And whoever feels like someone else has the upper hand, he or she is going to move in a way in which they're going to take that power away from them, because usually, not always, but the people who have the upper hand usually are mistreating those that they have the upper hand over. So they grow up and they grow up, or they time goes by and they say, well, remember when you treated me like this? Well, remember when you said this? They become vindictive, and the next thing you know, they overthrow the king or they overthrow the queen. What I'm trying to say, I hope that you guys are getting the message. The panderers are moving against the warrior class. Your nerds, your Poindexters are moving against the warrior class. And what both of those groups that move against the warrior class are doing is saying, I'm a better pick. They're saying, pick me. It's how they're saying it. They're not saying it by getting out here and doing what I'm doing. That's not their myospa of it all. That's not their minutia. That's not their je ne sais quoi. That's not their umphspa. That's not where they are at. When you raise children, you're going to observe children. And you're going to say one is good at this and one is good at that. One is good at numbers. One is good at with his hands. One is good at analyzing. One is good at, forecasting. You're going to say each one of your children possesses an innate, natural, human lived experience ability. And as a parent, you want to invest in that natural ability of theirs, because that's where they're best going to thrive. And in that ability, that's when they will excel. It'd be different if he's a chef by nature and I want him to go out there and be a mountain climber. He may climb the mountain, but he may not be top notch, because that's not where his or her heart is. Where his or her heart is in culinary. That they can taste things, they can smell things, they can sense things, and when they put it together, it comes out beautifully. I'm explaining to you innate and natural abilities. The issue that we're having here, and until we can fix it, we have to fix the men. Because those two people groups, men in essence, and it doesn't matter which group, so I want to correct that. It doesn't matter which group, men are weak. And men solely move primarily, number one, for access to vagina. You must understand that. And the women know that. So the women are basically saying, I'm going to get with which one of these personalities best suits my personality, so I don't have to carry as much water. I don't have to work the farm as much. I don't have to contribute to as much in life. If you don't change that concept of the female, then that female will then use hypergamy. And hypergamy is her natural ability to sell her body to the highest bidder. Unfortunately, if the men are scatterbrained, if the men are backstabbing, if the men are dubious, if the men are selfish, if the men are thirsty, if the men are doing all these things that says to the female, I will betray every man on this planet just to have access to you, then that permits the female to never measure up. She doesn't have to make weight. On that plantation, I had to bring in X amount of pounds of cotton, and you female as a slave, you had to bring X amount of pounds of cotton. You had to make weight and I had to make weight. We had to bring our fair share. In today's world, now 70 years running, the women have decided to stop bringing their weight, making weight. They stopped. And they're saying, if I'm having a lived experience with a male, if I'm going to live on this plane with the male must serve me. And the male must allow me access to other men as I see fit, when I see fit, and not complain about it. The problem with that is two things are happening simultaneously. There are men that agree to that, but the children don't agree to that. There are environments that don't agree to that. When those children of those parents of that female that says, well, I'm poly this and I'm poly that, those children grow up at a disadvantage compared to the other children that are growing up in a more disciplined environment. And then when those children come up, they either want to repeat the process or they don't want to repeat the process, but the men are always paying the most heaviest, egregious price. Women are only trying to do what they desire, not necessarily what is in their own best interest. They want the upper hand. And so they're listening to Uhmar Johnson when he talks the black empowerment talk to gain domination over me, the warrior class. She by nature wants me. She doesn't want your panderers, and she doesn't want your Poindexters. She wants me. But because I am the way that I am, I will choose her, but then she's going to have to forego all that bullshit that's in her head. I'm going to say no. If she gets with the panderer, he's less likely to say no. He is less likely to have rules and regulations and restrictions. However, your Poindexter, he's more likely to have rules, regulations, and restrictions. So then what comes the problem there? He's not naturally select. So it becomes controlling when she's with him. He's not naturally select. So when it comes to me and I am naturally select, when I tell her what to do, I'm not necessarily controlling her. When I tell her what to do, which is exactly what the Poindexter told her to do, she feels more compelled to do it because it's not a control. She wants to please me. And because she wants to please me, she does it almost instinctively. Whereas when the Poindexter says the same things, it's like, I don't want to do it for you. I don't want to do it for you. And the only reason why I'm doing it is because you got the money. If you didn't have the money, I wouldn't do. That's the concept over there. For the panderers don't say nothing. They don't say no. They go, yes, dear, whatever you want, dear. I'll do whatever you want, dear. But the women, they biologically don't like that. They may like it because they're coming from an impoverished environment, so they're going to use the panderer for cover. Let me get with him because what he is offering is better than the projects. Let me get with him because what he is offering is safer than the environment that I came from, but I'm not naturally desiring him, connected, or whatever words you guys are probably filling the blank with. So when it comes to me, when it comes to the panderer, he doesn't really tell her what you can and what you can't do, where you can, where you can't go. He's like, love you, dear. Sure, dear. Whatever you want, dear. And she's going to use it to her advantage until her self-esteem gets stronger, until her self-esteem gets better. Then she's going to take her self-esteem at 28 to 32, and she's going to try to come to get me. The problem with her coming to get me is usually, since I am the warrior class, I clip my wings. And my economics are my penalty. Since I deviated from the status quo and I did whatever it was that I did, my penalty is either jail time, or you stay on that train of low economics, or you can't move certain places. That's how I get clipped. So I'm not select as in I want him and I can be with him for the rest of my life. I'm more or less select, like I want him and I'll give him my sexual attention, but I can't give him domain over where I lay my head, because he's going to put me in an unsafe environment. He's not going to be able to do this and he's not going to be able to do that because of my economics to clip. But she's always going to run back to me so I can break that back. That's just the way that works. And I'm not saying me, the individual, I'm saying a personality type. The warrior class is what all women, not all as in ALL, but 98% of the women want the warrior class because we get shit done. But in the process of getting shit done, we clip our wings, we fuck with our mobility. Some women are going to choose your Poindexters, your nerds, because of the economics and the material access. And that's just the way it is. But the women understand that the Uhmar Johnsons and the Hotep communities and the and Ra and all that's just a bunch of talk that makes women feel gushy, but it doesn't move the needle. Women like men that move the needle. That's it. Women like men that move the needle. And I need you men to understand you're going to have to, if you want access to these women, which I think is lower on the list, you're going to have to stop betraying men. That is the key. You're going to have to stop betraying other men. As long as you guys keep betraying each other, the women are going to use you all as pawns because you're weak. And if we keep talking about power, strength, and weakness, who wants a leader that's weak? Warrior class, Zoo, rise up. Warrior class, Zoo, stand up. Warrior class, Zoo, rise up. Warrior class, Zoo, smoke them out. Peace, blessings, black love. I'm out.
In this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
Just bury me in the ocean with my ancestors that jumped from the ships, because they knew death was better than bondage.
Fair Use Act disclaimer. This site is for educational purposes only. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research.